Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Live at the Waterhole. We are starting here at the fabulous Serendella in Thornybush with a lovely little breeding herd of elephants by the looks of it here, having a lovely splash around and a drink. My name is Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours to see what we can see. Oh, look at that. Look at that elephant in the middle there. She's having a good splash underneath the legs, underneath the tummy, getting in all those hard to reach places. Please do remember we are very much live and interactive for the next couple of hours. I look forward very much to hearing from everyone out there, so please send your questions through to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan that QR code there on your screens. Feel free to send your comments, your thoughts, get involved today using the get involved in the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. Look at these little ones splashing in the water there. Right over on their sides. You can send your question and comments through via WhatsApp on +27 786 302 336. If you have never sent anything through before, please do. Look at this giraffe, that little elephant over the other side there chasing around after that giraffe. Please do get involved. We'd love to hear from everyone out there. We'd love to hear where you are watching or listening from. And I think today it's Tuesday, isn't it? Yes, it's Tuesday the 5th of August. It's 12:32 here in sunny South Africa. But I think I'd like to hear from everyone today. Did anyone do anything in nature over the weekend? It doesn't have to be elephants. Any birds, any insects, any gardening, any just sitting quietly in nice open spaces. Please let me know. I would love to share everyone's experiences. I 100% believe that nature is good for the soul. And I would love to hear how everyone has been using it. This camera here at Serendella is super close. I've seen some serious close-ups here of elephants on this camera. Thornybush is not too far from where I am. I've spent quite a lot of time in Thornybush Game Reserve. My last tracker actually works at Serendella now. Hi Alf, if you're listening, and he's just finished his level 2 exam, which I'm super proud of. We had a lovely time tracking together for about a year or 18 months. And I've actually bumped into him in the reserve. We've both been guiding, which I enjoyed immensely. Mr. Elemental, greetings to you too, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today. Your presence is, as always, hugely appreciated. Thanks for getting involved. You feel like you could see their eyelashes. You feel like you could... Ooh. I'm almost waiting for this camera to get bumped. I think it might have been bumped before. It's super cool to get into that action though. Oh, Catherine, wow. Just back from a forest walk and a few hours in a hide. How delightful. It can be so easy, and I'm also guilty, and most people I know are also guilty, even in our industry, of forgetting to make the time. Life gets busy, but you are just back from a forest walk. How fabulous. Completely different, although there are some fairly foresty areas not too far from here, but just going and sitting, even if there's not, you don't have a massive objective for it, just taking that breath, taking that time out, putting that phone down and immersing yourself in a bit of nature time is incredibly important for me anyway. Don, you're saying it's always interesting to see such big animals huddled up in a small spot. It is, and I've seen many animals huddled in shady spots. You could almost draw lines along the shade where they would fit inside if a tree is throwing some shade or a big rock. I've seen lions, I've seen rhino, I've seen elephants, and they huddle in that shady spot. What's this little oakie doing at the back here? On the far left of the screen now. There's been an elephant back there running around like a lunatic. I bet it's a little boy chasing and generally being rambunctious. But yeah, animals do utilise shady areas often, and also social bonding, family bonding time, social bonding. Animals that, or not all, but many animals do get joy and peace from being around their family members or team members, whatever you want to call it, and they enjoy each other's company. Old Punkster, yes, this is a very cool camera. We've seen some nice buffalo here. I think we've seen some kudu here as well. But Thorny Bush is, I think it was, please don't quote me, I think it was 2017. It did used to be fenced, but I think it was around about 2017. Thorny Bush dropped its fences between the Kruger, so this elephant you can see here might wander all the way through into the Kruger Park, across many of the other reserves that also sort of have no fences between them. And there's some actually really nice lodges there in Thorny Bush Game Reserve. But this is a fabulous camera at Serendella. Martin, you're asking, sometimes Ellies use their mums as shade. Do other animals do it too? Yes, I would think so. I'm just trying to think exactly who I've seen doing it. I think I've seen zebra foals using, and they'll often sleep if mum's throwing shade. Sometimes if they're resting somewhere, they will lay down almost underneath mum and use mum as shade. So I'm sure other animals will also do it. I've also seen quite a few animals use vehicles as shade. I've actually had a lion use my vehicle as a shady spot before, which is, it's not ideal. It's far from ideal, in fact. And there are many discussions around ethics, bush ethics and nature ethics recently, all over social media. And I am very much of a strong ethics. I have moved away if it looks like a lion's. You could almost tell. For me, I can almost tell if it looks like an animal's gonna try and use a vehicle for shade, and I do move, but it's complicated. It's not always possible. But yeah, animals using vehicles for shade is not ideal. But if they will use a vehicle for shade, I'm sure most animals would happily use whatever they can find. Look at these little ones all bundled around this very resilient log by the looks of it. It's actually, I really enjoy if you're down on foot looking at all these rubbing posts that animals use. I don't know, I still find it quite special to like touch mud that's come off an elephant or a rhino or something. You know that animal was there, you know that animal placed. Rhino posts are often very smooth, they're used regularly. I don't know, I just find it quite special to be able to touch mud that's been placed there by such an incredible animal. Recycled Teenager UK, hi, I remember your name, great name. Hi from England, please say hello to the motherland for me. Give it a wave on my behalf. Do elephants ever have twins? I think so, yes. I've never seen. I think it's possible, but very unusual. Because a baby elephant is big. When it's born, they're born about 150 kilograms. You can see when female elephants are heavily pregnant, and to get two in there is pretty uncomfortable. And also in nature, they have to be able to feed them, and I'm not sure how frequently twins have been recorded surviving. But it's hard enough to keep any babies alive out here in the bush. I think it's been recorded, but it's unusual. I think Recycled Teenager UK. Our little bathing elephant family, look how clear that game path is leading down to that waterhole. It's like a highway. Let's go across to Aldonio. I think there is a high chance that we may have some bull elephants there. But let's see if I'm proved wrong today. We do have some bull elephants, but we've also got an awful lot of zebra. Jeepers, that's some serious biomass we've got on that camera there. And the elephants seemingly relatively tolerant today. Although they are normally fairly. They would occasionally give a bit of a head shake, but I think I saw 4 species drinking here the other day all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Best sighting I've presented. I found myself with wild dogs.
We chased the dogs around, chased them around. They ate an impala. We got the end of that. Then another impala went into Gowrie Dam down the road there, and the wild dogs went around. Eventually the impala came close to the bank. One wild dog went and grabbed it and then just pulled it out and just did what wild dogs do. It was an emotional experience, but it was very, very special.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode, whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
The big tigers are big though. Wow, okay. Initial research suggests that between 75 and 300 kilograms. Wow, a 300 kilogram tiger. My goodness. And there are 3 subspecies, but wow, a 300 kilogram tiger, that would be insane. The only time I've really seen tigers is probably when I was very young in England at a zoo. And I remember a demonstration of them. They put a chicken up a pole or something. And even when I was very young, I remember being absolutely stunned by how high this rather large feline could jump from the ground to access a chicken up a pole, basically. Wow, if you think a 300 kilogram tiger, that is massive. I think that's probably the top end. But a massive, massive male leopard weighs about 90 kilograms. And that is a big leopard. So more than 3 times the size of a giant leopard. Wow, that is going to be a formidable sight to behold. I would love to go and do tiger safari. I know quite a few people that have. They said it's an amazing experience. Have anyone that's watching or listening, have you ever done a tiger safari? If you have, I would love to hear about it and hear about where you went and how it went. Brazil is also on my list to go look for jaguars and giant anteaters. I was actually reading something the other day that said there's different 12 different types of anteater or termite stroke ant feeders have evolved completely separately, and they think it's because there's just so many ants and termites available. They haven't come from a common ancestor, but they've developed almost completely individually at separate times. So termite stroke ant eating strategies are going on that evidence a good food obtaining resource to evolve towards. Melanitic marble is indeed busy here at Aldonio today. And everyone playing nicely. zebras can be quite brutal. I've seen a clip of a male zebra killing a foal before, and they are. Ooh, where's all that dust coming from? Is that more zebras coming in? Wow. They can be quite aggressive, and they can do some real damage with those teeth and those hooves. Johan, are there always fights between zebra because of the stallions being at one place at the same time? It's not unusual. It depends on the area. It depends on. Give way to the elephant. It's highly likely if there are stallions in the same place at the same time. But I did notice on one of the other cameras there was vast numbers of zebra, and they had to be there for the water. So I think maybe any sort of female claiming discussions might reduce a bit depending on resources, because they all have to be there because that's the only place there's water. And to spend the whole time there just fighting is not necessarily a sensible strategy. So I do think, and also it depends if any of the females are receptive, if they're reproductively receptive or in estrus. That would, I'm sure, have a massive impact on behaviours of stallions in any locality. But I think maybe to a certain extent, if they all have to be in one place for resources to survive, I'm sure everyone sort of goes, oh, let's just be nice for now. And I think also anything, not even necessarily stallions, anything at a site of a desired or essential resource is going to cause a bit of tension. So it could be any of them pushing and shoving any of them out of the way, I would have thought. But again, how serious those fights are, it would not be conducive to anyone or useful for anyone to constantly be battering the lives out of each other. And it's the same with these big elephant bulls. I'm sure there's a sort of understanding that goes on. It's like, look, guys, this is where the water is. We need to be here. Let's just get our drinks and not to. Let's not make too much drama out of it. Catherine, you're saying the tigers you've seen looked about the same size as lions, but had a longer body. I've never seen a wild tiger. I think there's Bengal tigers, Siberian tigers or Amur tigers, and Sumatran tigers. They're all Panthera tigris, or tigris, depending on how you want to pronounce it, with then a secondary subspecies. So the Bengal tiger is Panthera tigris, or tigris. Siberian or Amur tiger is a Panthera tigris altica, and the Sumatran tiger is Panthera tigris sumatrae. But interesting, that Siberian tiger also called the Amur tiger.
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
elephants learn how to care for calves from their mums or matriarchs? Yes, to a certain extent. In elephant society, aunts and female, I was going to say female aunts, of course an aunt is female, or female cousins, younger family members will get involved in helping mums with their babies. They often get involved in sort of ushering them around and things. So I think to a certain extent, those mothering skills are learnt from all the other adult females. They will be taking experience and knowledge from their herd members. So I think, Maxine, yes. I'm not sure if you're asking, do they care for calves from their mums or from the matriarchs, or if you're asking, do they learn from both mums and matriarchs? I would probably say both. There's a definite element of passing information from female to female. Don, you are asking, would most of these hippos be males or females? Don, I would... It's a little bit... In theory, there wouldn't be many... If social structure rules were to be followed, there shouldn't really be more than... Oh, look at that tiny little one. There shouldn't really be more than one adult bull here. But there's a lot of hippos here, which is, to me, quite unusual. I'm not entirely sure how far this body of water spans, but if they're following social structure norms, Don, it should really be one adult bull with females and youngsters of either sex. But I find it difficult to tell, and I depending on resources, animals do adapt their behaviour and social structures to enable them to survive with the resources that are there. And like I said, with those zebra stallions, they might sort of go, oh, okay, well, we've all got to be here for water, let's just make it peaceful. But if I had to answer, mostly females. But I'm sure if someone went and did a proper check on all these, there might be a slightly different element to what is normal. Adult male hippos are very... they don't like sharing as a rule, either their ladies or their water or their space or their food. But as is often the case with animals, they adapt, they adjust, and they do what they've got to do to make it work, basically. This little one's it's sleep time here. It's pretty relaxed here. We've had a couple of fairly interesting interactions with elephants and hippos there, although they do often sort of... The elephants will make their way through. settling down for our afternoon nap. Mike, sorry, you're asking, do both male and female hippos mark territory? Females, not really, no. The way I understand territoriality is if a specific area is claimed and defended by either marking or chasing away intruders. Females, not so much. They will protect little ones, so chasing things around, whatever it might be, keeping their young ones safe, but it's normally only males that will defend or claim or keep an area, which includes marking behaviours. Nice and peaceful at the hippo pools today. Nice to see that little one is around. Let's go across to Nkoro, see who we have there while our camel thorn hippos settle down for a bit of a snooze. Some more drinking elephants here. Nkoro, everyone's thirsty today. Oscar, you are asking, is hippo skin thinner than elephant skin? It's actually not. It's more sensitive than elephant skin, but in some places it can actually be a bit thicker. Ah, look at the tiny one. It can actually be a bit thicker than elephant skin, but it is more sensitive, which is one of the reasons hippos spend so much time in the water, normally, sometimes. I think elephant skin is somewhere around, it's about 2.5 centimetres thick. And in some places, hippo skin can go up to 5 or 6 centimetres thick. But as with all animals, that varies depending on where it is on the body. We know elephants have super, super thin skin behind their ears. And sometimes from these cameras, we get lovely views of those veins behind the ears on some of these elephants. Now, is it this? I think this hippo, is this hippo called Hank? If I remember correctly, whatever his name is, he has passengers, to say the least. I think this is hilarious. When hippos do this and there's terrapins on them, and then suddenly they go under the water, they all sort of they float up. But yeah, I'm sure someone said the other day this hippo's name's Hank. I actually watched a couple of days ago. There was Egyptian geese approaching this hippo, and I was very confused by the whole thing. I was like, what? Why would you do that? And I did a bit more reading, and it turns out that Egyptian geese have been known to follow hippo to try and pick up any bits and stuff and things that they're kicking up from under the water to feed on. But I'd never seen that behaviour before. Which is fascinating. It's one of the things I really enjoy about these cameras and just nature in general. You get, some people ask what's your favourite thing, and some people love leopards, or some people are really into butterflies, or whatever it is. But my favourite thing is very much behaviour now. I would rather watch a little. I would get so excited about watching. I've got frogs living in the lawn. Frogs like dig in a little hole to spend it. I watched a solifuge a little while ago, digging a day hole. It was a day solifuge, and it was making a hole, and I stood and watched it for 20 minutes or so. I would much rather watch anything doing something than a lion or something just sleeping. But this elephant's quite young, hey? One of the I don't enjoy aging animals anymore, because unless we saw them sort of being born, it can be quite difficult to know. But one of the ways I gauge it is they look a little bit wobbly, a little bit fluffy, and a little bit incompetent. Which is how I would age it. And this elephant looks all three of those to me. I don't know how old this elephant is, but it's young. It looks young to me. Look, still not quite sure what its legs are doing. Hopeless with its trunk. You see how it was just practicing. And these very young elephants, they will often bend right down and like shove their face in the water, because they're not competent enough with their trunks yet to make it work for them. The whole drinking water through a very complicated wobbly thing does not make it work. Recycled Teenager, UK. Hi, that's such a cool name. Wow, your knowledge is vast. How long did it take you to train, and was it all done in South Africa? Thanks, Recycled Teenager. I learn every time I watch these cameras. I learn every time I watch a bird. I did train in South Africa. The original training was before they changed it. It's now 2 months. My original training many years ago was 30 days, and I wrote an exam, did a practical for basic guiding, and then I did another, I think it was about 2-3 months for walking training. It has developed since then. That was 2011, and that is just the start, though. To me, there's so much more than passing an exam, a written exam, and doing a practical. You learn every day, every time you watch something. Like I literally said in the breath before that, I've never seen Egyptian geese approaching a hippo like that. And I think that's the beauty of it, is I don't see these 2 hours as me just telling you stuff, because that would be really, really boring. It's about getting different opinions and thoughts, and lots of my friends are into the same things, and we discuss new insects we've seen, and it's a passion, it's a lifestyle, and you never ever stop learning, and I never ever want to stop learning. How long did it take me to train? I'm nowhere near done. Is this mum showing this little one where the inlet is? I wonder. I'm assuming this is mum. That's so interesting.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh! Whoa. This is action-packed.
My full name is Mpomu Tikani. I grew up in Soweto. My first animal that I filmed, Cedric Dold. Okay, no, it's my first animal that I filmed, I think it was an impala. Best sighting ever, I would say it was actually this year, 2024. But it was this Cedric when we had Mulwati and TP on a waterhole kill. I think we have to cut it.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a salesman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Many things that every time I see something, it just makes me question things. See, they say if an elephant can fit under a mum's belly, it's under a year old. To me, the way this elephant is behaving and its wobbliness, it appears to me to be under a year old, but that isn't going to fit under mum's belly. Look. But then it all goes round to, well, it depends on how big mum is and how heavy was the elephant when it's born and everything else that goes with it. Oh wow, we've got some great questions coming through today. Karen, what do terrapins eat? Anything they can get their mouth round, Karen. They're voracious predators. And I think it's the marsh. I always get them mixed up. One of the two main terrapin species we see here has been known to eat ducklings. But yeah, anything they can get in their mouths, Karen. Deb D, what is a solifuge? What? Deb D, solifuges or sun spiders or red romans or creatures are the only thing in the bush. I don't want like spiders on my face or anything, but there's not many things that will make me squeal like a girl. No offence to girls, I'm classifying myself in that. They are an arachnid that has big bitey things, that is not venomous, that doesn't spin webs, and they scuttle, and they can get really big, and they scuttle and they're really fast. And I don't like them at all. Deb D, have a Google. Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Have a look online. Find a nice video clip of a solifuge, watch it, and then come back and tell us what you thought of it. I'm not a fan. I would never hurt one. But yeah, they will, and you often find them at night around lights and fires. And most of us, if there's a load of us at a braai or a barbecue, or sitting around at night, and someone goes, "Oh, solifuge," we'll all put our feet up on the chair. They are, I don't know, they bite, but there's a lot more dangerous things out here. But I just find them quite creepy. Lee UK, hello Lee UK. Do some swallows stay in South Africa and not migrate to Europe? Yes, I think so, but I'm just trying to remember which ones. I know a friend of mine saw a lesser striped swallow come back from its holidays today. So I'm just checking now for swallows. I can't, some do, some don't, but I can't remember off the top of my head which ones. But the lesser striped swallows have returned to South Africa yesterday. There's actually been there's changing sort of demographics a little bit in some bird. Hold on, I'm just checking these swallows now. Have I lied? Oh no. See, something like a pearl-breasted swallow. Some migrate, some don't. There are lots that are migratory, but also some that aren't. See, they are. Yeah, wire-tailed swallows aren't migratory. And those, I've just looked, I'm not going to lie, I'm checking on my bird app. Some pearl-breasted swallows, some don't migrate at all, some do migrate from a different area, and then some may or may not migrate from a different area. So that's clear as mud. Karen, you're cockroach phobic. I can. Is this a male who's just come in and ushered all these others away? That's not very friendly. I don't mind cockroaches. I don't want them on my face. I'd happily pick them up in a cup. I'd probably pick them up with my hands if I had to. I'll try and pick most spiders up in a cup. I don't want to pick them up with my hands. Solifuge, I don't want to pick them up in a cup either. Really, they're really fast and they scuttle. I've told this story before, but years ago, when I was actually working at Tau Game Lodge, I guided there for 2.5 years, and then I worked in management there for a little while as well. And I had a full lodge. I had 60 people for dinner. And I was make sure everyone was fine and everyone was seated and all the rest of it, and I went into the back office and there was a humongous solifuge scuttling around in the back office, and I didn't want to hurt it, but I didn't really want it to be inside, and I didn't really want it like running around, so I got a pot and I put a pot over it, and I tried to get a piece of paper under the pot and things, and I must have got sidetracked and I'd forgotten about it. It was a big, a great big cooking pot, so it didn't hurt the solifuge. And in the morning, the boys came down to check the board before game drive, and they lifted this pot up, and this gigantic solifuge shot out, which is not what you want in 4:30 in the morning before you've had a chance to have a cup of coffee. And they were unimpressed with my gift I'd left them. But they then caught it and put it outside, I think. But yeah, it's everyone go and have a look at solifuges, or red Romans, or sun spiders. It was fascinating. I'll happily stand and watch one dig a hole or something. But I just don't like. He was over there digging his hole. I actually got it on video. I was fascinated, and like I say often. Speaking of Tau Lodge, let's go and have a look and see what is happening there. And those terrapins are still all sat on Hank. But yeah, I'm fascinated in watching behaviours. And wow, look at everyone here. It's a party. We've got zebras and are they kudus and waterbuck and Egyptian geese and a crocodile and impalas. If there's ever any doubt that water is a essential life force, then I think this is a perfect demonstration of that here. Look at everyone getting on so nicely. But behaviour is my passion now. I did have a question from someone a while ago asking about behaviour. And I actually studied through an organisation called COPE, which is the Centre of Applied Pet Ethology, founded in the UK. Now offer online behaviour courses for companion animals. They've also got a brilliant wild dog behaviour course, cheetah behaviour course and lion behaviour course, but also domestic pets based on neuropsychology and ideas from Jack Panksepp. You are welcome to have a look. But yeah, this is who I started learning through, and I have said before I was under the impression that I would have all the questions answered about why stuff did stuff, and I have not. It just raises even more questions, different reasons that things may or may not happen, but it focuses on looking what a specific species needs for a good life. So different species like these water buck need access to water to be in and around as opposed to just drinking, where your steenbok do not. And it's the same applied across companion animal species. Different dogs need different things to live fulfilled lives, and it can impact their behaviour and emotionality hugely. And this is how I'm going to go and do this from the 17th, this work with captive wildlife, and look at enrichment programs for captive wildlife. Fascinating. So I'm going to get to combine my two passions of wildlife and animal emotionality together, and I'm super excited. But yeah, if anyone wanted to have a look, the organisation is coape.org. I'm not affiliated with them in any way whatsoever. It's just how I've done my learning through.
This unfolds in front of you.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Phobic of solitude. I just really don't like them, and they'll make me squeal. But I know there are many people that do have extreme phobias of different things, whether that is a cockroach or a snake or heights or anything else, and it does create serious panic. And that is how we would work with dogs that are frightened of something, or we can't really say, it's difficult to say phobic, but you can, if you wanted to work on that, Karen, what we would do with dogs is just very, very gradual distance, long distance exposure, but long distances, so basically desensitization programs and counter conditioning, so pairing that emotional response from negative to positive, and then desensitization is gradually reducing the strength of the reaction that you feel to that particular thing. So you'd start with your cockroach 100 meters away, and and you know, someone waving over there saying, I've got a cockroach over here, and you say, okay, cool, keep it 100 metres away. And then while you were doing that, someone was giving you a bit of chocolate to take that thought of, wow, that is a stunning big kudu. Look at the size of his neck. And I always like their, it looks like that, it's not called a beard, but whatever you would call that. It looks like it's been double dipped in paint. So it's gone in white paint and then gently frosted with a dark paint along underneath of his neck there. I don't like the look of what he's eating very much. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't look very palatable though. Looks like a thistle or something. I suppose there's nutrition in thistles. He's definitely working on it though. So yeah, Karen, that is how I would work on that, and just gradually then move the cockroach to 95 metres away and give you another bit of chocolate. That is how we would work on phobias or fears with companion animals, or indeed captive wildlife. Are roaches a sign of a healthy system? I don't think so, Alana. I think roaches can survive pretty much anywhere, is my understanding. I'm not totally sure, but my gut instinct is something like, I would go something like amphibians. I know amphibians are an indicator of a healthy ecosystem because they're very sensitive, but I'm sure people say cockroaches would survive a bomb, thus indicating that they don't need a particularly healthy environment to survive. I think, I might be wrong, but that's what my gut reaction is, Alana. Susan. Hi, Susan. Thank you very much for getting involved. Your cat has trained us well. She has different moods for wanting to tap running water or stretch into the door with her nails to go out, and many different things for her different needs. We jump to it. Brilliant. Who said we can't communicate with animals, hey? And so much of it is body language, Susan. And we see it in, I love this spoonbill. We had a brilliant, was it a spoonbill and an ibis, I think, the other day stood next, there's a crocodile. A spoonbill and an ibis stood next to each other, both feeding on the same thing, but using completely different mechanisms. So I found that very interesting. But yeah, it's Susan, it's body language. And the more time you spend watching them and considering why they're doing what they're doing, the better understanding you develop. And you have spent a lot of time watching your cat, and thus you understand her beautifully. See, there's still some stuff going on here with these crocodiles. And it still does fascinate me how close these birds get to these crocs. They're taking a chance. And I've learnt about crocodile mating behaviour recently while we've been watching this. It's often a male will gently rub his head and snout down the female's head across her back, and then loop that tail underneath for copulation, and it can sometimes go on the interactions for quite some days at a time, and we've been seeing this for a while now. Karen, really interesting question. Have I seen a mother in the bush mourn after losing a youngster? Yes, I think so. I've seen clips of lionesses being what appears to be distressed after losing cubs. I've watched an elephant family. I think that's probably the closest. I've watched, it's actually really distressing, sorry if anyone finds this upsetting. I've seen a mother zebra running around frantically looking for a foal. And this is what I find emotion actually, that according to neuroscientist or Jack Panksepp, there is a grief system in the brain that is activated. So neuroscience stuff, that grief can be activated by mourning in that situation. Whether or not it's you use the word mourn, whether it's mourning in the sense that humans would understand it, I don't know if we'll ever know. But be impacted by the loss of a youngster, yes, 100%. I've seen distressed zebras, I've seen distressed impalas, not as much as zebra, and that elephant family is probably the clearest example I can think of where that a herd appeared from nowhere, crossed a river to get to my side of the river, stood around a carcass of probably a 3 or 4 year old elephant, stood completely silently for 3 or 4 minutes in a circle, turned around and went back across the river and left. So that's probably the closest I've seen. It wasn't just a mum, it was a whole family. And I saw it. There's lots of reports of it, but I'm often really dubious about reporting things I've seen, or rather information I have got, because sources can be so dicey these days. But I saw that with my own eyes. Don, do crocodiles make noises? Yes. They make quite a lot of noises. You don't hear it very often, but they almost sort of make like guttural noises and... What are they? That was not that crocodile that just sneezed. Almost like some like hissing sounds. They've actually got quite a broad repertoire. They almost vibrate, so they make quite a few different sounds, Don. BBC. I was gonna cheat then, but I'm not going to. I don't know. You seem to remember male crocodiles being called bulls, but not sure cows for females. A bull crocodile? A bull? It sounds about right. I have never referred to a male or female crocodile as anything other than a male or female crocodile. Bull? That feels really weird, calling a female crocodile a cow. Look at that spoonbill looking at those crocs. Whoop, I would back off. But you do often see these birds feeding close to crocodiles because they're kicking stuff up. I've just never seen Egyptian geese do it with a hippo. A bull. I think bull does sound about right, but a female crocodile? I don't know, BBC. Who is not the BBC, because I've checked. I want to try and... cow? Because normally it is bulls and cows and does and rams. Doe, crocodile. Horses and mares. I'm just trying to think what other... Like, what would a female snake be called? What would a female lizard be called? Would a male snake be called a bull snake? No. What about a male bull shark? Would that be called a bull shark? I have no idea what female crocodile is called. If anyone doesn't know or hasn't checked elsewhere, send in what you think a female crocodile would be called other than a female crocodile. But if you've already checked, then it doesn't count, because I haven't already checked. I'm just trying to rationalise it. You're gonna get eaten, Spoonbill. What's that? Is a crocodile on top of another crocodile? That's interesting. And that, I believe, is... I think I did work out the female one was slightly... the female was the darker one. And if that is a male, he's just sort of shimmied his way back there. Like, you can just see her nose sticking out of the water. I think we are currently seeing mating crocodiles right now. Huh. Okay. Apparently, according to a resource, female crocodiles are called cows, but that feels really strange to me. If a male is called a bull, then it would make sense that the female is called a cow, but that makes me feel strange. This is a cow crocodile. It's like, what? Freddie, are they mating? I'm going to stick my neck out and say, yes, they are. See, look, he's sort of wrapped his tail underneath her there. So, Freddie, are they mating? Yes. This is a very cool thing to see, though. So I actually did some reading around crocodile mating when we started seeing some activity here. And they said it could last between a few to up to 20 minutes. spoonbill. Photo bomb. Just casually filter feeding here in front of these mating crocodiles. Brilliant image of a spoonbill.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Mpomu Tusitikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and yeah, you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I want a camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, and I'm very fast.
Hyenas love waddling. Out here, every wild moment matters, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel, ad-free 24/7, where you can even rewind and watch something again. Get access to behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and access to early travel offers. It is the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Oh no! Did we lose the camera? That's sad. It's a beautiful waterbuck though. Lovely male waterbuck up here at Jackie's Sabi house in the Sabi Sands. So often we see these males, they don't necessarily have to cohabit with groups of females, but they will definitely be interested if they are coming into estrus. But this boy also quite happy to hang out on his own for a lot of the time. Okay, I think we can go back to Tau. I'd love to continue watching this behaviour. They are still going. Okay, I think this question is from OK, which is odd, but hi. Someone is asking, how soon after mating does she have to hide her eggs? It's around about-ish 3 months. It's my very reliable source. Mating season is between July and September, and egg laying dates take place from October to December. So it's somewhere. Oh, Oak. Hi, Oak. Apologies for that. Ryan, that is a brilliant question, Ryan. Why do antelope have ridges on their horns? Ridges are, or those keratin, the horns are basically keratin, and I'm not entirely sure, but it feels like to me something to do with growth patterns. So possibly around how it grows creates the ridges rather than a design necessity, if you know what I mean. But I'm not entirely sure, Ryan. That is a really good question and a really excellent observation. I have never thought about that, Ryan, but I'm going to now, and I'm going to find out a bit more. We did have a long discussion about oh no, I didn't check that. I was supposed to check that as well. I'm going to add that to my homework list. Ridges on horns. The other homework I had, one was to check up about a lady that got bitten by a mongoose, and I did, and that was absolutely horrific. What a terrible, terrible thing to happen. Ended up with sepsis. That's horrific. I did look at that one, but the other research I was supposed to do was, does sun change fur colour? I did not conclude that. I was supposed to check and I did not. I apologise who asked me that. I forgot, if I'm completely honest. But I'm going to add ridges on horns. But Ryan, I feel like without cheating, it's got something to do with growth spurts. But I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to find out, Ryan. Excellent question and excellent observation. I'm assuming you looked at those waterbuck horns and your inquiring mind went, why are they bumpy? I love this. I think this is brilliant. And this is why I continue to stay so enthused about nature. And this is one of the reasons I really enjoy doing this with you guys for 2 hours, is you see things that I've never thought of. And I enjoy that immensely. Mindy Tillipal, hi, you popped in at exactly the right time. They've been going a little while now, Mindy Tillipal. When did they start? I'm just trying to look back through these messages. They've been going almost 20 minutes, I think. And my book says from a few minutes to 20 minutes, so we might be reaching a conclusion. Or I may have to report back to the author of this book and say, no, they can actually mate for longer.
I met this remarkable rhino bull, whose name is Samson, last year in a place of extraordinary beauty, history and story. I'm going back there to see him in October, and I think you should come with me to his mysterious mountain fastness.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website. Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live. Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
All the different antelope that have ridges on their horns, and I'm just trying to think if any females have them. It could well be. Thank you for that info, BBC. I'm thinking of different antelopes with different horn structures. I'm going to have to go away and think about it more, but definitely an interesting theory. Clay, you're asking why does it seem like the one on top keeps pushing the other one down? To continue copulation, I believe. And that this water is very shallow. So I'm sure if the one underneath is touching the bottom, it adds to a bit of stability maybe. The cat's father. You are asking, does the temperature affect the gender of offspring with these crocodiles? Aha. You read there is some crocodile species where the gender is affected by temperature. You are absolutely spot on. The cat father. You are correct and you have read correctly. Also, the humidity can play a factor in the development of young, or what sex the young are going to be. And placement of those eggs in a nest obviously affects the temperature and the humidity. So eggs that I think it's between about 31 and 34 degrees C develop into males, and any eggs incubated either above or below that temperature develop into females. which is amazing. I think that's a. There's another hammercock supervising. So how long were we watching? That is about 20 minutes. So yes, the cat father, you are indeed That's amazing to watch though. This is so cool to watch this behaviour, completely uninterrupted. Karen, will babies stay at this waterhole? I'm not sure. They would normally disperse. But if there was another waterhole that was crocodile appropriate, you know, a kilometre away or something, then they might disperse. But it would depend on if there's anywhere for them to go. I'm not sure. It depends on sort of what resources are available either in that waterhole or in that area. Eagle lover, you are agreeing. The ridges on horns help to interlock the horns during fights, preventing them from slipping and potentially causing serious injury. My brain has gone to things like kudu. They don't have ridges. I'm just trying to rifle through my brain to think about what other antelope do and do not have ridges. I'm thinking of smaller antelope like Stimbok. Do they have ridges? I'm going to have to do a bit more reading. I don't know if it's going to depend on what environment they're living in. I'll need to have a look at how males determine territory, or whether or not it's territory based, or I just want to do a bit more reading behind other possible reasons for that. But I definitely think that could play a factor. do know that it looks like the physical look of it looks like it's something to do with growth, but I'm sure there's many benefits of horns growing in that way. But I want to do a little bit more reading into the reasons why. I'm also thinking about this crocodile, whether or not the babies will stay or go. I know there's excellent parental care in crocodiles, and she will care for her young. She will take them to the water. I'm not sure at what age young crocodiles would disperse. They're not going to hatch and all like leave immediately, but I think again it's going to depend on resources. I've seen baby crocodiles in the same water as adult crocodiles before. So yeah, I think it's another it depends sort of question. Mr. Elemental, those crocodiles can be quite gentle when they want to be indeed. Mr. Elemental, it looked like that mating looked like a very sedate, gentle affair actually, which is surprising. You often see in some species that isn't the case. Siobhan, you're asking, does that mean that all of the crocodiles' eggs will be the same gender of this nest? It's going to depend. I'm having a massive it depends day to day. It will depend on where the nest is, how deep the nest is. Temperatures often fluctuate. Temperatures and humidity can vary in a single nest site. So a lot of it will depend on if the nest is laid in shade. It's going to be the placement of the nest, the depth of the nest, that will determine the temperature and the humidity in that nest, which will then determine the sex of the babies. It's like a nice hammock up here, having a bit of a preen. Let's go. I'm looking at the ridges on these horns now quite closely. I'm thinking of other antelope species. Let's go back across to Aldonio and see if our zebra have managed to get a look in again after being somewhat overpowered by those elephants. No, they're still waiting. But we do have some guinea fowl though. Guinea fowl are getting a nice drink. Some East African. Oh, it's being asked to move along, please. Karen, you're asking, would they grow more trees around that water's edge, seeing that the other trees that were there with the bird's nest in, etc., have been destroyed? It would be very difficult, Karen, to keep those trees safe if they did plant more trees. I've lost a multitude of plants around my garden recently in this dry season, and there's absolutely no elephants anywhere. So it would be very difficult to.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
Actually know how far these bulls walk before they come back, because we know they do leave and they do come back again, but I would love to sort of know how far, and I'm assuming they go off to feed. Moonbeam Smith. Hello, Moonbeam Smith. Thank you very much for getting involved in the conversation. How do you tell guinea fowl from Franklin's at a distance? I go on GIS, general impressions of shape and size. I would look at if there's a lot of them. I've always remembered guinea fowl were one of the first birds I ever saw when I came to Africa, and they always look like they've been squashed from the sides to me. So if I was looking at something head on, if it looked flat from the sides, numbers of birds, guinea fowls, you normally find them in groups, francolins not so much. That's what I would go on, and I would maybe listen for calls as well. Guinea fowl have that very distinctive call, as do different francolins. So that's how I would do it, Moonbeam Smith. Karen, would I eat any wild African animal, or am I vegetarian? Interesting question. I have eaten wild African animals before. I have eaten eland, once or twice impala, kudu, but I do not eat red meat anymore. I just don't fancy it, to be honest. I obviously love animals, but it's more based on, I had some game meat when I was in New Zealand that came from deer that lived on the property. I discovered this afterwards. My tummy did not enjoy it, and I have not eaten any red meat since. So I have in the past, but now I probably would not. Would I do like real exotic things? No. But I have eaten African game meat before, but if you ask me if I would like a kudu steak for dinner, I would currently politely decline. But each to their own. I'm not for or against it. Well, you do you is very much one of my phrases I use these days. You do your thing, I'll do mine. I think you've got a queue going here, guys. You've got zebra, oryx, giraffe. So is there a little bit of a standoff going on here with these elephants? This zebra is unfazed. Go on, try. Oh no, maybe not. So this one elephant is looking away from us and he's almost glancing back. The one in the middle is glancing towards that other one that's behind that we can't really see. That to me looked like a you wait your turn type body posture. Oh, one of the zebras. Oh, they're all going to go for it now. Safety in numbers, hey zebs. Ryan Williams. Welcome to the show, Ryan Williams. Thank you very much for getting in touch. How old do elephants get? Books say between 50 and 60. I'm not sure if anything above that has been recorded. Oh, look at these elephants at the back here. So I'm going to say between 50 and 60 because that's what books say. Obviously sometimes they don't survive that long depending on illness or fights or lack of resources, but probably up to about 60. Johnny Fever, brilliant name. Thank you so much for participating. What a fabulous name, Johnny Fever. Are guinea fowl used as guard dogs? They used to be that way in the American South. Quite common here. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. And actually, to be honest, that's probably better a question thrown open to any of our South Africans that are listening or watching. I've never seen it done, but it would make sense because they're definitely very vocal. Geese are sometimes used in England for the same thing, very vocal birds. Here we go, here's Floppy Ear. Hello Floppy Ear, are you going to cause problems today? Any South Africans who have spent time on farms, have you ever known anyone to use guinea fowl as guard dogs for those very loud calls they make to alert to danger? I do know guinea fowl also shout quite a lot sometimes when there's not danger. Sometimes they're just very vocal. I've also walked through, or I've been close to guinea fowl that have not been alarm calling, which would suggest to me they don't necessarily alarm call for people. So maybe they wouldn't do a very good job. Maybe at night they would. I've never walked through a flock of guinea fowl at night. What are you doing there, boy? Having a look at those having a look at that pump or whatever it is in there.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is Jen. He's driving, yeah. You gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when, these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving, yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Any of those other things that might hunt guinea fowl, then yes, that would actually be a great early warning system, shall we call it? Victor, can elephants lose their ability to flap their ears? Yes. If there's damage to the cartilage or damage to the muscles in there, it would mean they couldn't flap their ears like we see these boys doing so often. help with some thermoregulation. Karen, why do you think we never see female elephants at this waterhole? I've actually done a bit of reading around this area to find this out. And it seems that it's quite a hilly area. It's not the easiest area to be in, I don't think. It looks... I think we can actually... It's quite mountainous, this area, and I think we can actually, if I'm not mistaken, see Kilimanjaro in the background on a very clear day. So it's not the easiest terrain for females with their little ones. These males are more resilient, they can tolerate harsher conditions. And I believe that is possibly one of the reasons we don't see females. And it's quite a transient area as well, I think. I certainly also wouldn't want little ones up here with such a huge full-time population of big bulls. But yeah, I believe that is the reason it's not the easiest area for tiny elephants. See how there's still more coming. See, look, there's that little oakie stood in the middle again. See, there's at least 11 bulls here. I think I once counted 15 in a group up in Pafuri. These zebras are desperately trying to sneak in around the side here. Oh, now the little one's going to chase them. Shame, poor zebras. What a fabulous afternoon, especially with those. That was 100% crocodile mating. Something I've never seen before. We've watched them certainly courting, but that was definitely a copulation in my opinion. Absolutely fabulous to see that. I've got some excellent homework to to go and do, and I do it because I'm interested. I still need to check scientific evidence of sun changing fur colour. Do a bit more, see if I can dig up some papers on that, and information on the intricacies around ridges on antelope's horns. Interesting times. Thank you all so much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your participation. It's such a pleasure to be able to share these images with you all, and hearing things that you guys notice but I may miss. So thank you for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care out there, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We're heading on a journey through some of South Africa's loveliest nature havens. We'll discover some interesting fauna and flora while being astounded by Africa's beauty. Our locations are unique and diverse, with jaw-dropping landscapes and fascinating wildlife. At the cutting edge of conservation and ecotourism. If you like what you see on Safari Spotlight, you can visit these wild and special places. We'll send you on a dream safari.